Hi there folks, I hope you're doing well. Today I am here to review both the 1954 movie adaptation and the original 1945 novel of George Orwell's fantastic political allegory, Animal Farm. I'll start off with the novella, as it's what I studied last year, both as in like my last school academic year and like 2023. So, what is this book about? Okay, this was an allegory from George Orwell as his slight distaste of how communism, specifically the 1917 Russian Revolution and the rise of the Bolsheviks, could have been easily corrupted, and how he views communism as a slightly irresponsible way of running a country. The novella's plot starts off as a manor farm in which all the livestock are being malnourished, and they are led by this, what some would say is a tyrant man called Mr. Jones, and he, again, as I said, he's irresponsible. He doesn't take care of this farm, he's drunken, he's terrible. However, one day, these two superior pigs, some would say they're superior, Napoleon and Snowball, they come and have a big influence on this farm, eventually causing revolution and overpowering Mr. Jones and what he once was and what he meant to the farm, essentially making a world of their own. This has now been renamed Animal Farm. This is pretty much communism, right? The goal of this is to have no leaders and everyone work together to create an amazing environment of peace and equality. Equality is key. However, as time goes on through the novella, things begin to become more corrupt, and Snowball and Napoleon's influence on the farm becomes more corrupted, and what they mean to the farm itself begins to fade, and it becomes a lot more of a horrible anomaly. So, why was this book written? I'll do a brief explanation over it. I already kind of explained it, but George Orwell, who's born as Eric Arthur Blair, had a very critical view on the irresponsibilities of communism, I believe. So he wasn't particularly too happy with how, again, it didn't affect him, he wasn't Russian, but he didn't really like the aspect of how it's just like all money was shared, and it's not particularly a capitalist view. If anything, George Orwell was entirely criticising, and this was written as a diatribe against capitalist views, but he wanted a more of a socialist approach of how a country should have been run, in which there's still leaders, there's still a power, you know, there's still authority, but it's not as spread out and even as communism. Not only is this book incredibly enjoyable, as well as it's really deep and meaningful, but it has an incredible consistency with a really good whole suspenseful tone of eeriness and alienation throughout the whole novel, and also really has a good connection to the characters. This book is incredibly bold because not once does it ever state these pigs and animals in this novel can talk, they can speak. It doesn't ostracize the fact that these animals can talk and they're sentient in a way like human beings. Not as clever as human beings, but they're sentient. That's not questioned once in this entire novel. Instead, it's a lot more of a bold approach to the whole aspect of the story and allegory, in which this novel knows exactly what it was doing, and George Orwell was incredibly smart and careful with what he was doing with this novel. It took him, I believe, 4 months to write this, from November 1943 to February 1944, and that must have been 4 months of serious toil, unless it came naturally to him, because this, again, when it comes to the language and the consistency and the really deep, powerful, transparent message that's coming throughout the whole scheme of the novel and the story is just so clever, so amazing. George Orwell knew exactly what he wanted to do, and again, that's not unusual for his style. He's always put political influences of capitalism and corrupted authority into his novels. Most notably is obviously his novel 1984, which is probably one of, if not his most famous work. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this book. I studied it a lot. It's I do have slight trauma from the end of studying in school, but nevertheless I really enjoyed it, and it's a fantastic book. This here is the Penguin issue of the book, or the Penguin Books issue of the book, whatever you want to call it, which runs for about 95 pages. It's a novella, so it's not like Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix sort of length. It's just a short book, but it is fantastic. That's all I really have to say. I think it's fantastic, nearly flawless, and overall it's got a fantastic eerie ending, which is just so perfect and bold. for the story. Now, moving on to the movie, 1954 adaptation. There was another live-action adaptation. I think it must have been done in the early 2000s, which I don't really care for. Hence why I'm only reviewing these two issues of the novel. Now, this is the 1954 version of the movie, which is actually quite short. It only has like a runtime of like 69 minutes. Not long at all, really. But yeah, another really good movie. It has a really lo-fi aspect to it. This wasn't done on a big budget. I don't believe so. But yeah, this definitely has a lot more watered down approach to the novel than Animal Farm. Whether it comes to just the gore, is very less present in this novel than in the book. That can be agreed by pretty much everyone. Oh, by the way, lovely 60th anniversary edition Blu-ray here. I'll unbox it in a minute. Yeah, so it definitely has a very different ending, which is polarizing to some viewers who are very favourable of, like myself, of the original ending of Animal Farm. It's still a really enjoyable experience. Again, it's literally like an hour, done and dusted sort of viewing. It's definitely not as powerful as the book, and I do prefer the novel, obviously, over the movie. But the movie is still very good. Has a good consistency as well. I really enjoy it. I think it's the pretty much. The animals in the film don't speak, unlike the novel, apart from in Napoleon Snowball. So it has a very different aspect to it. It's to some people again who might have been. I can imagine when this came out, it would have been very polarizing, alienating for people who worshipped the book's ways. But I think by all means, it's still a fantastic movie. It's really enjoyable. It's a bit more stripped down and a bit less intense for certain viewers of the actual novel. There's definitely some aspects of the movie that seem a little bit more morbid, and I would say dehumanized, but they're not humans; they're animals. But yeah, dehumanized aspects to the film that aren't quite in the novel. For example, how none of them can really speak apart from Napoleon Snowball, and also the fact that the book, sort of like the national anthem of what the animals on the farm sing, which is called Beasts of England, is instead replaced by some horrific, dreadful wails, like in the movie, which is very morbid and disturbing, unlike the song in the novel. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about the movie. It's not particularly powerful and deep as the movie, but as the book, but I still think it's amazing. So that's the book out of the way. Let's get through the unboxing of the Blu-ray. Alrighty then. Alright then, folks. Here is the 60th anniversary edition Blu-ray of Animal Farm. Again, quite a nice edition. It's not a particularly extravagant box set, but it's still very good. It's a good collectible, I will say. Some cool stills from the movie up there. Here's the film's synopsis summary. Special features, has some cool things there. Here is the disc. And a really cool, nice piece of artwork on the in sleeve there. So yeah, that's that. A really nice Blu-ray. It's worth getting, obviously, if you really appreciate the movie. And that's that. So then, everyone, thank you for watching my review of the 1954 film adaptation and the original 1945 novel of George Orwell's Animal Farm. Again, it's a book and both a film that I really, really appreciate on so many levels of enjoyment, consistency, and political views. Most certainly being really interesting and deep, and I love all that stuff. So thank you very much for tagging along and watching this. Hopefully you should have some more actual short movies coming from me soon. It's been a bit of a delay recently, I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.